Looking back, considering this piece in 2014 will be 50 years old, I think we're all lucky that it's been saved.
It has a long and interesting history, starting at CBS's famous Black Rock headquarters in Manhattan. It's referred to as Lou's Wall because it was created by one of the greatest graphic artists of all time, Lou Dorfman. And he was in charge of all graphic identity at CBS for 40 years.
Lou did things very, very thoughtfully and very effectively. I was there when the work started, and I participated in fabricating some of the components. It's fun, it's interesting, it's clever. I think the inevitable reaction is that, boy, this thing is really beautiful.
I know myself, I've stood in front of the wall and just looked at it for half an hour, 45 minutes. And you can just stand there and there's so many things going on and it's so intricate and so complicated that you discover new things every time that you look at it. So it's fun.
About 23 years ago, he got a call from Richard Spiro, who was the building manager, who informed Lou that the wall was being thrown out.
CBS was sold, and the new owners took this magnificent piece of American art, ripped it off the walls and threw it in a dumpster.
So Lou in turn called me, and that very afternoon I rented a truck, basically loaded all the panels onto a truck, and I realized that it was an icon and needed to be saved, and brought them here, put them in the basement where they've been sitting for the last 23 years. The adhesive that was used was of 50 years ago, so it dried out and letters fell off, to the touch. They would just drop to the floor. So we had boxes all over the place full of letters. There's one section, I think it's on panel 4. And it's about this big. It occupies this much space, and it says, "Eat, drink, and be merry." And it's done with a flourish, with words and letters interlocking, overlapping, and all. And it's so beautiful and timeless. I think anybody who created that sort of beauty today would be heralded. It's just a beautiful thing, and it will be forever. When you consider there are 1,650 letters, each of those letters had to be first removed from the old panel, stripped of the paint, sanded, repaired, and made ready to have a fresh coat of paint. This is a typical refurbished letter. It's in great shape, solid pine, cut with great skill. A lot of the smaller letters were broken. This letter, you could see the light tone, that section was broken and we couldn't find it, so we just make a new piece. Typography was not just letter forms, but letter forms that expressed ideas. You look at some of the individual words, the phrases, they're just absolutely stunning, and they were then and they are now. There was one panel on the end, the first panel on the left was a door, and he wanted to do a handle, and I think he said, why don't we do a hand with an egg? And the door handle is part of the new restoration. The freshness of these panels, the typographic sense, is really unmatched. They were then and they are now.
I didn't have the privilege to know Lou when he was still with us, but in some ways I feel like I know him because I know a lot of his friends now. And they've told me about Lou, and I've read about Lou and watched videos on Lou just to learn more about this really cool wall that we have here. So I think that Lou would be very happy, and his friends tell me that he would be absolutely ecstatic that the wall is here. So I feel good about that.
It's really stood the test of time. Good design is eternal. It's been a very long process, but is one of great joy because all the pieces are coming together. I think it looks quite beautiful. I think Lou would be smiling from wherever he is to see this and to know that it's going to be in the Culinary Institute in Hyde Park. It's a perfect home, and I know he'd be thrilled. And I think when people see this in its entirety, wow is going to be an adjective that's going to be used frequently.